Long days and pleasant nights, fellow travelers along the path of the beam. I am known on this level of the tower as Jaime and Fuego, and if it please you, join our quartet here for a bit of palaver on Hail! Oh yes! To Stephen King. That's right, my favorite author, the guy that you see right beside me there. Bienvenidos and welcome to the Horror Show. You can just call me Fuego for short. And this is a long requested segment that, you know, I kept putting it off for the sheer fact that I was like, you have to have every single entry before you actually do this video. You have to have every single installment. You have to have every piece of real estate. But you know what? As I approach the 100th episode, and there's still a couple very small, minor, in many ways, minuscule, insignificant components, I felt like it was finally time for me to do a companion video to the tour of my bookshelf with showing all of my Stephen King DVDs and Blu-rays and different releases of that nature. Now, yes, I did, as I just implied, do a video where I went shelf by shelf, showed all the different stuff that I have here, every single release, you know, well, every book obviously, and then a few special ones as well. So that was my bookcase tour, but what I am going to do today is give you a brief look into the, I guess the Infotainment Studios and the living room that also doubles as like my main office lounge type area, and you're going to get to see all the different releases, probably a lot of usual suspects, perhaps a few interesting special editions, and just a couple things that will in fact be missing, yes, but it's only a handful. So let's go take a look now, shall we? Alright y'all, we are officially back, and you are in the domain of Infotainment and Sci-Fuego, that is right. So let's just take a quick little peek. You can kind of tell that there is a lot going on. Yes, many different bits of information. There is my archaic TV. I have rocked the same 1080p for quite some time, but as you can see, there are quite a few DVDs, blues, all kinds of fun stuff. So let's just jump right up here and we will take a peek at everything that I have to give a gander to. Now that is actually an upcoming review. So let's just jump up here and we're gonna go bit by bit here. First and foremost, yes indeed, we have Apt Pupil, a very well-made film by Bryan Singer, at least in my personal estimation. I think it is underrated, and great performance by both Ian McKellen and Brad Renfro. Yes, indeed, that is one that I think needs just a little bit more love, and you know what, I'm just going to set these down below as we slowly go through. Next up, I have talked a lot of smack about this book and this film, but yeah, there you go. Mick Garris's own Bag of Bones, starring none other than former 007 Pierce Brosnan. Not only do I find this to be a very weak book, but I find this to be an incredibly weak adaptation. And yeah, it's just unfortunate that, you know, I don't know. It's I think it could have served the book that I know so many people love better, but there you have it. That is another. So this is where things get a little bit interesting. There are many versions of Carrie. A lot of people think that there's only the two. So we have this special edition, that is right, Sissy Spacek, and they top bill John Travolta, which is really kind of funny to me. But yeah, this is a terrifically made film. You know, Brian De Palma, who also did Phantom of the Paradise, which is incredible. There's actually a new super special edition of this that I have been wanting to purchase. It has some new documentary stuff associated with it, but at least as of now, I have not traded this in and obtained that. Now, for the version a lot of people may be unaware of, we have this, which was made for TV. That's right, check it out. There was in fact another version of Carrie which was made for TV. And if I'm not mistaken, this was put together by none other than Brian Fuller. Yes, that's right. That is a name that probably many of you know. This was supposedly going to be a backdoor pilot to a ongoing series. Just didn't end up transpiring, unfortunately. So there you go. There was, in fact, another version of Carrie. We will get to the third and final one at some particular point. Now we jump into Cat's Eye. This was actually done by the same director who was behind Cujo, I should say. This was an anthology, had a couple different King stories in it, including The Ledge, which I thought was decently done. It's also got Quitters, Inc. With James Woods. It's also got an original story. I don't really like this very much, but being a completist, I had to have it. There's a story with this cat, like, jumping from person to person, and I don't know, it has many adventures, and I don't know, I am not the biggest fan, but we are going to jump now. So, there's various versions of these movies. First and foremost, we gotta go with the one that started it all, based on the King short story from Night Shift. Yep, that's right, Linda Hamilton, Children of the Corn. They altered some stuff from the source material, but I like what they did. There is also, I'm trying to remember if it's Scream Factory or if it's Arrow. I want to say it's Arrow, just put out a very impressive looking new version of this that I have really been wanting to purchase. Haven't got to it just as of yet. The remake, the Sci-Fi remake, which is a little bit true to the book in some aspects, I actually think is very well done. It's not without its problems, but I still really enjoy the hell out of it, and that is why I have this particular version. Then there's a bevy of sequels, and this is really the only way that I would go about purchasing any of these crazy sequels that they made. The Final Sacrifice, Urban Harvest, the list goes on and on. This has 6 different ones, all on one crazy disc. Yep, there we are. So, yeah, I have still yet to do all of these for films that forgot the face of their father, because Cecil and Marcia apparently want to be a part of those. Why? I don't know. But, so yeah, there you have it. Children of the Corn, the most sequelized of everything Stephen King has ever done. Now we have... Oops. We have the special edition of Christine. Carpenter did a great score for this, but this is not a great movie in my opinion. I just have mixed feelings about Christine in general. I don't know. It's just one of those episodes where... one of those installments and King adaptations that I just... it just doesn't do it for me. But this has a nice bevy of, there's commentary with Carpenter and star Keith Gordon. There's 20 different deleted and alternate scenes. So if you are a fan of this particular film, you definitely need to pick up this special edition, because I love supplemental material, and that has a nice amount of it. So now let's jump into these 2 delightful anthologies, one of which being significantly better. I believe the UK has a special edition of Creepshow that has been sitting around for a while, this amazing George Romero directed anthology, but there is one coming to the United States this October. I cannot wait. The crate is fantastic. I can't remember the title of the one about, I can hold my breath for a really long time, but that one is pretty incredible as well, and I gotta keep this crap in frame. Sorry guys, this is a completely different type of video for me, trying to actually get all of this going and on screen. But yes, Creepshow is a definite must-own. And then I have this great special edition of Creepshow 2, which, while not directed by Romero, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to double check. Yeah, Michael Gornick actually directed this. But yeah, it's got my favorite installment of anything from Creepshow, which is The Raft. I flippin' love The Raft. I think it's the strongest segment of both films. We don't include the third one because that's just awfulness. But yeah, Creepshow 2, guys, is it's very good. It's very good, but it's not without its problems. So The Raft is worth the price of admission. So next we jump into, and you keep checking out A Good Marriage. Yeah, we'll get to that at some particular point. The reason it's out in front is because of the fact that I have yet to watch it. But The Dark Half, another one done by Ramiro. This has a pretty damn good performance by Timothy Hutton, I have to say. It's never been released in a deluxe edition. Yeah, and it doesn't really have a ton of special features either, but, you know, just anything Ramiro and King together. I think this one is actually a little bit underrated, personally. So, yeah, there you have it. Timothy Hutton and The Dark Half. Especially if you're a fan of the book, you really need to get around to obtaining that. Do that purchase thing. Next up, we have an adaptation, I believe another Mick Garris, that a lot of people don't even know exists. I don't even think Cecil knew that this was a thing. But yeah, Desperation was in fact adapted into a TV miniseries at one particular point. It's okay. It's just okay. Dude from Wings and from The Shining readaptation, he shows up in it. I must admit, what's his name, Hellboy, is actually pretty damn good in this when he's actually in it. Why can't I think of his flippin' name? Ron Perlman, yeah, that's right. Mr. Perlman. But, you know, once again, this is one that while decently adapting, it could be done so much better. And for that, I suppose we continue waiting. Now, one that I wish they would just put to bed and we wouldn't even have to deal with seeing ever again is this turd of a film. Especially with Lawrence Kasdan directing it. I had high hopes for this. It had a killer cast: Morgan Freeman, Thomas Jane, Jason Lee, Timothy Olyphantastic, Sizemore. It's got Donnie Wahlberg in there. But this film sucks, and the book is also pretty terrible as well. Yeah, I think it's my least favorite King adaptation and book, as I have gone on record to say before. So we will just strike that from the record. And, you know, I guess this is as good a time as any to mention A Good Marriage. This is one that I actually just recently obtained, and I have yet to watch it. I just got a hold of it. This, and one of the only missing entries from this collection, which is Big Driver, also from the Full Dark No Stars, just like this. Yeah, I like both of these actors. You know, Anthony LaPaglia, I want to say, if I'm pronouncing that properly. I know I've seen him do some wicked mobster shizzle before. Joan Allen, she's always pretty spot on. So this is an interesting story about a woman who discovers her husband is a longtime serial killer. Interesting stuff, and one that I greatly look forward to watching. Now, another one that we have to jump over to here is one that is an adaptation that I have long been, actually not an adaptation, a written for screen thing that I've long been wanting to do a proper bit of coverage on. The Golden Years. And this actually explores the shop and some craziness that they were up to besides going after Charlie in Firestarter. This was supposed to be more than just one season, and it never amounted to anything beyond that. But, you know, once again, this was King doing something different and scripting directly to screen. So, kind of interesting, I suppose. It's one that I don't remember very well, and I don't remember liking in the time that I did, in fact, watch it. But, so now let's jump up here to another King adaptation. And you keep seeing the Mangler. We'll get to that very soon. Graveyard Shift. This is a terrific short story, but I'm not the biggest fan of the adaptation, I gotta say. Dude who voices Chucky shows up in this at one particular point, and I'm trying to remember his name. Dourif, I want to say? Yeah, that's right, Brad Dourif. He's like this crazy exterminator type. I say just stick to the short story from Night Shift. It's very solid. Graveyard Shift is just, it's very hit and miss when stuff gets adapted from King's shorts and expanded into something. This one is not so. It's not so good, Al, if I'm gonna quote that. So now we have the double-headed snake. That's right, or the double-headed spider, I guess you would say. Yeah, there we go. We have the miniseries, and we have, until we get the director's cut, yeah, we have last year's 2017 version of it. I personally prefer this one, but that one is still pretty damn good as a reinterpretation. I've talked so much about that film at this point, and so has Cecil, and so have, you know, many of the rest of us, that if you really want to hear our thoughts once again, yeah, you can check them out in the playlist. Now we get to the one and only time King ever directed something. Oh yeah, Maximum Overdrive, Emilio Estevez. King has a ATM call him an asshole at one particular point. This movie for me though is so stupid, it's actually fun. I gotta give it stupidity credit. It's one that I actually quite enjoy, as bad as it is. AC/DC killer flippin' soundtrack on that. So yeah, we go from one of the silliest adaptations to maybe the best King adaptation ever for me. I just did some retro coverage of The Mist. The Mist is incredible. This is definitely the definitive version that you want to have because of the fact that it has the black and white cut. It has a just amazing amount of supplemental material. You know, lots of behind the scenes stuff, and yeah, damn, is it such a good adaptation. I get all hot and bothered and excited thinking about it. Then we have an iconic turn from Max von Sydow in the role of Leland Gaunt. That's right, Needful Things, which was allegedly going to be the last Castle Rock story. You've got Ed Harris playing Pangborn, which is interesting. You're seeing Pangborn currently on Castle Rock. He was also in a little thing that we saw just a while ago, which was The Dark Half. So as far as adaptations go, this is not one of my favorite Stephen King stories, but this is a very solid adaptation. It's about to celebrate its 25th anniversary, if I'm not mistaken, and I am going to be doing a retro review of this very soon for Hail to Stephen King. So get ready. Needful Things is going to get the spotlight right on it. Now, as we continue our deep dive, it's time to briefly mention The Mangler. I haven't seen this since I was a kid. It's got Robert Englund. It's got Tobe Hooper directing. So much talent for this. I don't remember liking it, but I don't remember it very well. Cecil has begged me to hold off on this because it's kind of a creature type thing. I do not currently own The Mangler 2 or The Mangler Reborn. Those will probably show up as installments of films that forgot the face of their father, but at least for now you can look forward to a retro review of The Mangler, and we will discuss about how bad it is, I would imagine. Now let's jump to... This is actually... Sorry, y'all. This is actually a very interesting kind of crossover thing that adapted Chattering Teeth, which, if I'm not mistaken, was in Nightmares and Dreamscapes. This is Quicksilver Highway, once again, written and directed by King, longtime collaborator Mick Garris. It's also a Clive Barker adaptation. I thought the Clive Barker story in this was way better than the one about the Chattering Teeth, but, you know, what are you gonna do? That's kind of the way things go. So this is long out of print, and I was able to finally track down a copy of it. But yeah, Quicksilver Highway, not one of my personal favorites, but you know, it is what it is. Now, if we can get these proper, I am also planning on a special double dip of both of these. So we have Stephen King's Rose Red, and then we have the adaptation of the prequel kind of diary type thing, which was ghostwritten by somebody else but meant to fit into the universe. This actually just celebrated its, I want to say it's 10-year anniversary, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm going to just basically watch both of these. I remember hating Rose Red as a kid. I thought it was boring and stupid and not scary. So, yeah, I'm at some point very soon, before the year's over, I'm going to double dip and talk Rose Red and The Diary of Ellen Rimbauer. And also, you know, since you guys saw this a little while ago, I just picked this up from Zia the other day because I really wanted to watch, if it'll focus, Firestarter 2 Rekindled. I've never seen it. It's going to be an upcoming episode of Films That Forgot the Face of Their Father. I just got done, if this will actually focus, rewatching the original Firestarter. Firestarter 2 was a Sci-Fi original I've heard it's terrible. But yeah, last bit that we have on this particular shelf is going to be none other than Riding the Bullet. Have to have that widescreen version of it. If I'm not mistaken, this is also Mick Garris. A lot of Mick Garris here, y'all. And this actually, you got to get the widescreen edition because it's got a nice amount of special features. It's got director, cast, crew commentary. There's some mini featurettes, Art of Riding the Bullet. So it gives some interesting history about this. I actually really like the performance of David Arquette in this. It's not like a personal favorite from King, but Garris, even if the adaptations are kind of mediocre, he does always put like a lot of heart and soul into the mediocrity, I guess you could say. So yeah, there you have it for the end of that particular shelf, and I guess you're getting a brief gander at all kinds of other fun things that I have there. But we jump down another shelf and we get, that's right, we get Salem's Lot. This actually still has not seen like a deluxe riddled release, which kind of bums me out. This one was done also by Tobe Hooper, if I remember correctly. Yep, Tobe Hooper. Fantastically done. One of the other ones that you do not see here is the TNT version that had Rob Lowe and was just god-awful. I have thought as a completist that I do need to purchase that at some particular point. I also do not have a Return to Salem's Lot, which is done by Larry Cohen, but upon a recent rewatch, I actually had a lot of fun with that movie, despite the fact that it really didn't have anything to do with the series proper. So now we jump to our second two-headed snake, and I guess in this instance it would be a two-headed, I don't know what you would call it, two-headed Torrance. There you go, that's what I'll call it. So we have the infamous Shining 2-disc special edition. This has tons and tons of different, first digitally remastered film, all kinds of special features, documentary stuff. I have very mixed feelings about this movie. I enjoy it as a work of art and as a fantastic looking film, but it is nowhere near as faithful as the miniseries, which was done in 1997 that King scripted himself. Once again, dude from Wings that I mentioned is in Desperation. I don't know. I like both of these films, but, well, one being a feature and one being a miniseries, but at the end of the day, they are both flawed, and neither, in my opinion, is the definitive version of the story. But since they're about to make Dr. Sleep, Mr. Mike Flanagan is working on that, I don't think we're going to see a new adaptation of The Shining anytime soon. But, you know, nonetheless, both versions have their merits. Next, we have the adaptation of Cycle of the Werewolf, Silver Bullet. This is a cheese movie, I must say. It's not like a particular favorite of mine. Gary Sinise is interesting in it. You've got the Corey, the Heim, whatever, the Hyman. Yeah, and in a lot of ways, I think the less said about this film, the better. But hey, you know, what are you going to do? You will also notice that I do not have my particular version of Pet Sematary here on the shelf because of the fact that that has been lent to my girlfriend at the moment. So, alright. We want to talk about another time when King just scripted straight for, you know, The Fences, well, Sleepwalkers, and its weird vampire cat people craziness. Once again, more Mick Garris, more strange sexuality. This movie is just weird, man. I tell you, it is about as weird as they come. If you've never seen it, it's definitely worth the price of admission for its strangeness. We're gonna do another adaptation that could have been better. I actually like Tim Matheson quite a bit in this particular role. Sometimes they come back as just one of those short stories from Night Shift, though, that is so frightening and so well done that the watering down of the satanic summoning elements and stuff like that, and it's just really, I don't know, they don't work very well for me, but hey, it is what it is, and this is another one of those Dino De Laurentiis, I want to say, special features, non-existent, but hey, if you're into it, it's not a bad adaptation, but it's definitely not, it's not a good one, per se. Then we have one of the most underrated things in the entire King canon for screen, in my opinion. Storm of the Century. I love Storm of the Century, but I did not love Storm of the Century as a child. As a child, I was extremely disappointed with Storm of the Century, and I was like, this is boring, but upon rewatching it as an adult, it's really frightening as a character study, especially the climax is just totally nuts to me, and I enjoy the hell out of this one. I truly do. I think it's one that's grown on me, and it's another that was an original 2-screen script. I do have the hardcover version of the script, but I haven't personally read it. The fact that there's a commentary with King for this, though, and by director Craig Basley, that is worth a purchase alone. Storm of the Century. If you've never seen it, it's pretty damn terrific. Underrated. Very, very underrated. Now, the reason we're talking Tales from the Darkside here is because Tales from the Darkside has been done. It's done King stuff before, so that's actually going to be a few of the things that I am not going to directly reference. I do have all of the Tales from the Darkside. I've got the full series. I believe they did Word Processor of the Gods. They did an original, which was called, sorry, Right Number. But, you know, they adapted The Cat from Hell for this, which later ended up popping up in a later King anthology. Oh, I'm trying to remember if it was Everything's Eventual or if it was Just After Sunset. I don't really like the story very much of the hitman going to kill the cat. It's kind of dumb to me. Honestly, the best story from Tales from the Darkside, which is actually referred by Tom Savini as the real Creepshow 3, I think the best one is where the artist is like, he draws the gargoyle and then he shows up with, you know, with the wife and everything, and there's the crazy twist once she finally sees that artwork. But yeah, this has Cat from Hell in it, and it's just okay. So, we continue our King journey and end this shelf right now with Thinner. Technically a Bachman adaptation, but you know, Bachman is most definitely Stephen King's alter ego. For me, this is a very once again, if we're going to talk about more underrated stuff, you know, directed by Tom Holland, who also did Fright Night and did Child's Play. This has a decent amount of exclusive bonus features. It's got, you know, obviously widescreen THX. It has a featurette, audio commentary. So this is kind of at the advent of the DVD movement, and this is one that, you know, the makeup effects are great. I actually really dig the hell out of Thinner. I think Thinner is a very worthwhile adaptation, and yeah, guys, so that is at least the end of that. So yes, now we are jumping to the next level here, and they're really, you know, I have all of my DVDs broken up by genre, so there isn't really a lot in the realm of science fiction after jumping from horror to mention, but we do have to show the special edition of Running Man with Arnie. Damn Rizzle peeps. All kinds of awesome special features on this 2-disc monster. You've got remastered, you know, widescreen and full screen. Oh man, what else? If we can actually see this a little bit better. There's documentaries, a couple different ones actually. Audio commentaries, various ones. Meet the Stalkers. Meet the Stalkers, that's actually very funny. So, yes, Running Man is one that I think does in fact need to be owned. And then the film that is about to be, or the miniseries, I should say, is about to be remade. Yes, the Tommy Knockers. Jimmy Smits, awesome in this as Guard. Everything else is pretty much crap. But I'm very curious what James Wan and his production peeps are going to do with this. But you have to have it if you are a King completist. And now we segue down into the realm of television. And I think, you know, most of the stuff on here, it's funny because how do you distinguish King, you know, if it's TV or if it's, you know, just a mini-series. But this is one that I still have not completely finished because I didn't like it. And it's not an original King work. This is actually based on a Lars von Trier thing. His movies are very, very strange. This is one that I will eventually get to next year because we will be celebrating the 10-year anniversary of it, if I'm not mistaken. It's either 10 or 15 years, something like that. But we will be talking about Kingdom Hospital and Stevie's reinterpretation of it in full at some particular point soon. Here's another made-for-TV one, and I guess this could probably, since I've got a few of the others up there, this might even be in the realm of sci-fi. I don't know. I'm trying to remember if Garrus did this. No, no, it doesn't look like he did. But yeah, the Langoliers, it's imperfect. It's really aged poorly. Dude from Perfect Strangers on it. But, you know, the performance of the blind girl is pretty damn good, and it still captures the urgency and just the craziness of trying to travel and fly, and yeah, that's one that I actually think could be remade and done very, very well. Now we jump to, yes, this was an experiment that TNT did at one particular point, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. This was an anthology series. It's got, oh man, the one with James Woods fighting the toy soldiers and stuff, which is just really silly. But, you know, it's also got like Crouch End with Claire Forlani that was amazingly done. So, as with any anthology series, it can be hit and miss. I don't like this particular series very much. I think that they should have done it on pay cable, made it more violent, made it more crazy. It would have been so much more interesting. But there you have it. It's at least worth checking out if you are a fan of the King. Yes, you definitely need to make the time. As we segue down to the lower level here. Yeah, how about that? Yeah, that's a show that wouldn't even exist without Stephen King, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to say just a little what's up to Under the Dome. I reviewed the first season. I did not think too much of it, just like I didn't think too much of the book. I also have the second season of the show, which from peeps who have actually watched it have told me is really the last good season of it that they had. But yeah, I will eventually get to the third season. But Under the Dome, yes, one that I'm very sad that I do not have here is 11/22/63. That is a necessary purchase very, very soon. And also, Night Flyer is a missing piece upstairs, as well as Big Driver. But now we get into the Blu-ray collection and the King stuff that we have here. So we have 1408, special edition of this with lots of great supplemental stuff. It's got an alternate ending. It's got commentary. Boy, yeah, lighting is definitely going to totally suck on this video. I am so sorry, guys. But yes, 1408, if you're a King fan, that is definitely one that you have to have in your ownership. And you guys are actually just getting a nice direct little view. So, alright, here it is. The third version of Carrie that was done with Chloe Grace Moretz, I want to say. I was not the biggest fan of this film, but I'm going to be doing, for its 5-year anniversary, another look at this film, and just basically comparing this and the other two versions, the made-for-TV one and then the Sissy Spacek. And yes, you can look forward to that here in the month of October for the 5th anniversary of this third version of Carrie. But the Blu-ray has tons of bonus features on it, so if you are into that sort of thing, I mean, lots of supplementals. Yes, lots of supplementals on Carrie. Then we have an adaptation that could have been great. I actually love this novel, and I liked about 3/4 of this movie, but I hated how King changed the ending. Hated how he changed the ending. But, and also I felt like Cusack was just kind of, I don't know, he was just kind of mailing it in some ways. But, yeah, there you have that. Jumping over to more Cy King stuff. We have the 25th anniversary of Cujo, which is the one that you want to have because this actually has the documentary. This is the one that has a commentary, but it's not the newest one for the 30th anniversary, but this is, for me, the definitive release of a movie. I actually just did a review for the 35th anniversary of this film. It's not one of my personal favorites, but you know, it is what it is. You see Firestarter there. I just picked up this special Scream Factory version of it, if I'm not mistaken. Another Psy King one where you can see where Stranger Things stole all of their thunder in a lot of ways. But besides the Tangerine Dream script and, you know, George C. Scott, despite the racial change and everything, I think he's good in this. Martin Sheen is over the top and terrible. And Drew Barrymore is, she's just okay, and her dad is so hicked on, overdoes it. But, yeah, this is the current definitive version of Firestarter, if you want to add that to your collection. What can I say about the Dark Tower film that I did not mention in both our original review, our spoiler review, and my 1 year revisited? This film is terrible, and I mean, maybe there's some merit to owning for the supplemental stuff, but it's just, it's an infuriating film through and through for this traveler along the path of the beam. As I continue looking right now to make sure there isn't anything on that particular row that I'm forgetting, we now jump to... Move those away so that we can get to another great definitive version of Misery. That's right. So Misery is, this is another collector's edition, I believe also by Scream Factory. This is the new definitive version of this particular release. Boy, all kinds of new special features, 4K restoration. Yes, this is, you know, directed by none other than Mr. Rob Reiner, and it is very easily one of, if not the most celebrated King adaptation of all time, and with good reason. So as I continue taking my peek here, and I scan down, yes, we're going to the very bottom level over here. We've got a little bit of Stand By Me, the 25th anniversary edition. Such a great cast there, you know, with Wheaton and River Phoenix and O'Connell back when he was kind of Chubbs, and you know, Kiefer playing Ace Merrill and stuff. This is the definitive version that you want currently. All kinds of great Blu-ray exclusives. So that is one right there. And I believe that rounds out at least the Blu-rays. Now we have jumped over for our very last bit to the non-scary King. So, you know, we saw a tiny bit of sci-fi, we saw some Blu-rays, and then we saw lots and lots of horror. But if we were going to scan down here, Dead Zone. Yeah, Dead Zone is, for me, it's probably in the top 5 adaptations of King stuff ever done. Cronenberg, incredible. This is a special collector's edition that has all kinds of great stuff on it. It has tons of different behind-the-scenes documentary stuff. Sadly, no feature commentary with Cronenberg or anything like that, but there's 4 different pieces, including memories of the Dead Zone, politics of the Dead Zone, and how it kind of ties in with things today. But yeah, splendidly done there. And then just below that, we have the other iconic turn in a King adaptation from Miss Kathy Bates. Yep, that's right. Dolores Claiborne, and also Jennifer Jason Leigh as her daughter does a fantastic job in this, about a wife who is being accused of murdering her, basically the woman who she was a caretaker for, and it renews investigation in the alleged murder of her husband, and just the sordid stuff that was possibly going on with Miss Jason Leigh's character when she was very young. So that we can toss aside. Now we get to another amazing bit from Darabont. Yep, this is the 2-disc special edition of The Green Mile. The other great Tom Hanks, well actually no, not the other great Tom Hanks, but the other just awesome dramatic adaptation that was done by Darabont, because you know The Mist was straight up horror. But yes, this has so many different, I mean, look at all, that is a laundry, and you can't really, it's not focusing very well, but that's a laundry list of bonus features. all kinds of different commentaries, making ofs, and great behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Unfortunately, you can go wrong a little bit with doing an adaptation of Hearts in Atlantis that basically doesn't give proper, like, context, I guess, you know, to like some excuse me, just big stuff that ties in with the tower, like the Lowman and things like that. I mean, I still really like Hopkins as Brodigan, and I like Anton in it, you know, rest peacefully, young dude, as Andy, but I mean, it just, this is one that it only ends up exploring a couple of the stories. It doesn't explore the title story, which they're apparently trying to make into a movie right now, but, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely one that needs to be seen, especially if you're a fan of the source material, though, which is really, really, really good. So we jumped through, and I'm just making sure we are not forgetting anything before I jump over to Secret Window. Yeah, Johnny D has had his fair share of troubles right now, but him and John Turturro are both quite good in this, I think. This is based on the novella Secret Window, Secret Garden. Yeah, also some bits from this were incorporated into Sewing Season, which is a great brand new song. But yeah, guys, this is another dependable one for me. It's kind of along the lines of like 1408, at least in my estimation, where it's a good solid adaptation, but you know, not much beyond that. I believe 4 Past Midnight, if I remember, was the origin of that particular story. And then you have the big boy right here, and the last to mention, that's right, Shawshank, y'all. And much like with the other Darabont, you gotta have this terrific 2-disc special edition. Some people really prefer everything on Blu-ray. I don't. Unless it's like a big budget, like kind of Hollywood thing with supreme amounts of special effects and whatnot. I don't know. This is also chock full of all kinds of great 10th anniversary edition extras. I believe this is still bonus feature-wise the definitive version, this or the Blu-ray counterpart, which has all the same, you know, specials and whatnot. I just love that painted cover, man. That painted cover is just sick. Super, super cool. And yeah, this is a great film, man. I gotta say, this is a really, really tremendous film, even if I do personally prefer The Mist. Yeah, as far as Darabont stuff goes, but this is very, very good. So that's really a good note to end it on. You can see I don't have, you know, the aforementioned, you know, Pet Sematary or The Stand, because both of those are out on loan to friends right now. So it's kind of a travesty to not see those, but you've seen that on, you know, the Hail to Stephen King stuff that I've done here previously. And yeah, with the exception of a couple films that forgot the faces of their fathers, you know, like the remake of, you know, Salem's Lot that I mentioned, and like the Sometimes They Come Back sequels, and, you know, just a few other things. I believe this collection is pretty comprehensive, y'all. So let's kick it back to Fuego in the studio. Oh, hi. Yes, that's right. We're all back. So I got to extend a grande gracias to everybody who tuned into this special installment here on, yes, 97th episode of Hail to Stephen King. Mind-blowing, crazy, crazy babies, y'all. So, yes, I have to extend once more thanks to everybody who has supported this show through thick and thin, through nearly 100 episodes. It is just mind-blowing. I've been Jaime Fuego. You can find me on all social media sectors, like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, just like you see it spelled below with that little @ thingy beside it. And, yes, new Fuegotainment coming. Ooh boy, who's excited for that? Hopefully everybody is, and yes, make sure to subscribe to see lots of old archived episodes, and be there and ready once there's some fresh content coming very soon. If you haven't subscribed here to The Horror Show, please do so. Hit the subscribe button, ring that bell so you get all of the updates about all of the different bits of content that we constantly do here on The Horror Show. 2 to 3 episodes a day, including twice a week. Hail to Stephen King, Terrifying Tuesdays, Scarific Saturdays, although sometimes we do shift the days around just 1 or 2 if we have, you know, different film premieres or special events to cover. So still, twice a week, and look forward to September 1st. That is right, Saturday, September 1st. It's kind of like a double celebration of the 100th episode of Cy King here, Hail to Stephen King, and also the fact that it's his birthday month, it's my birthday month, it's Cecil's birthday month, so yes, El Rey is going to get some proper love. We're going to be doing an AMA, we're going to be doing just all kinds of rad different stuff, man. There's going to be some prize giveaways, some trivia. It's going to be live as well on the Horror Show Facebook, but it's also going to show up here on the YouTubies as well because we can't stream at the moment. So, in any event, look forward to that, and if you have any special memories or just cool bits of insight, make sure to hit me up with, if it's a video about your collection or, you know, just something that you have enjoyed from this show, make it less than 2 minutes so, you know, we can make sure to fit everybody in, and also if you have photos of your collection, just anything related to this show or to Cy King, it would be greatly appreciated. So, until the Wheel of Ka comes around once more, hasta luego, sin amigos, I hope that we get to see one another sooner rather than later, and until that instance transpires, remember, stay scared, and read Stephen King. Even if this video was all about watching Stephen King, read Stephen King. If you want to know what to read first, there's a video here in this playlist for that.